It started as a bout of pneumonia, but devastating complications have changed a Sydney father's life forever. The Bardia man says after his limbs were amputated, he then had to battle with the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Graham Matthews is a loving dad doing his best, and for that, his 6-year-old son is his biggest fan.
You're doing a good job, Dad.
Thank you, Hector.
But there are little things the Sydney father longs to do.
Simply being able to play chess, for instance, with my son, to be able to play Lego with him.
More than 3 years ago, Graham lost his hands and lower legs to sepsis. He received his first plan from the National Disability Insurance Scheme about 6 months later. But he says prosthetic limbs weren't included.
Around about 16 months after the amputation is when I finally got my first set of prosthetics from NDIS.
He says he also waited around 20 months for a wheelchair. And while a prosthetic hand was recently approved, 6 months after applying, it was a difficult process.
I had to seek to have my local member intercede on my behalf.
Graham says due to delays in approvals and plans being wound up early, he didn't get to use the full amount of support he was initially allocated. After that, his funding was reduced for 18 months. A new NDIS report shows nearly a third of the support provided nationally over 6 months wasn't used.
The average person in their first plan tends to only use about 56% of their supports. When you get to the fifth plan, it's more like 78% of supports.
Disability advocates and the Labor Party claim there's a reason for that.
You get a package of money. You can't spend it all because of the red tape. And then at the end of 12 months, the government bean counters come to you and said, well, you didn't spend all the money that we said we would give you, so you won't get it next year.
The report also shows waiting times to receive NDIS support increased this year. In March, first plans were completed in 90 days on average, compared to 77 days in December. The government says that's because it's been clearing a backlog of complex cases. In 3 months, the NDIS received nearly 7,000 complaints and more than 14,000 participants requested reviews.
That means there's 700 complaints and reviews being asked for a day.
There's always room for improvement, and we've always got to continue to challenge ourselves to improve. But with complaints less than 2%, that's not bad.
Graham has recently requested a review. With his leg prosthetics worn out, he's asked for a new pair for everyday use, but has so far been refused.
It's been demoralising, to be honest, to have to fight for everything from NDIS.